Dekker has been the teamfight crowd control support for the longest of time, yet I always thought she could do it a little bit better. She definitely fell out of the meta after Legacy or beginning Monolith, somewhere around there, and she was always struggling. Especially in the introduction of Phase, she really fell down in the pick. Yes, she was still good and had a solid stun. Always felt like she could definitely been working better. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a hero rework idea video. I am Sylphin. So, guys, first things off the bat. One, this is just my idea. No way represents what Unleashed Games is going to do. Two, hero passives are coming back, so we have to make up a passive for Dekker. Three, I like the idea of a quest mechanic. I actually kind of want to call it Paragon mechanic, because the more you do it, the better you become. And that's what Paragon means, to be the idiom, a example of something, to be the best of something. So I could call it Paragon, I don't know. But anyways, and four, I forget. Four, this is just my idea. I suppose I want to reiterate that. All right, so Dekker, oh, four. Yes, of course. There we go, it's early in the morning. Four, I think that hero design has to be based around the fact that a hero serves a purpose, serves a role, serves a niche in the hero roster, and that is super important. It has to be drawn out with the hero's design. It has to be emphasized. So what is that niche and theme for Dekker? Well, ignore this. This is just the overview trailer. What is that? She is, like I said at the beginning, she is the AoE team fight support. She does AoE with her slow bubble. Her Stasis Bomb, at least at the end, was a small AoE. Her containment fence, obviously, an AoE. Her rocket boots used to give AoE movement speed to... She was all about AoE and team fight simply because of that ultimate. She's the ultimate wombo combo setter-upper. And that's an awesome nature. Awesome nature to kind of focus on and bring out. So with that, what passive could she have? And that is simply, somebody in chat brought this up and I was like, oh, brilliant idea. Passive: for each allied hero within 2,000 units, Dekker produces a 2,000 unit range aura that increases allied crowd control effects by 5%. Meaning, if her entire team is around her, she produces a 20% crowd control increase aura that goes 2,000 units. Meaning, if you have a Rampage that is within that radius, getting that 20% buff, that means that his rock is going to hit you for 20% longer stun. A slow is going to be 20% bigger. Instead of a 30% slow, it's going to be 36% slow. Stuff like that. Crowd control effects are increased by 5% for each nearby ally, so that she empowers her allies' crowd control effects as well as her own. So, with that said, how can her kit be awesome with that passive as well? So, rocket boots, it's being reworked into what it used to be at this point of the footage as you're seeing here. Dekker rockets into the air a short distance and gives herself and nearby allies in a 1,000 unit radius 14, 15, just a movement speed slow. Again, forget the numbers, just think about the concept behind it for 2.5 seconds. Awesome. She can help engage or give movement speed during a chase, during a retreat, just in the middle of a team fight. Perfect stuff. Just gives her more of a supportive nature, and it's exactly what you want from her. I never thought that should have been removed. Stasis Bomb, it's the same, however the core mechanic kind of changes, so it's much more consistent. You lob an orb of energy, damaging, stunning enemy units, etc., in a very small radius. The orb hovers above the surface, though, a very very small, like whatever would seem reasonable. Moving through and damaging minions. What that hovering over the ground does is it still follows the terrain, right? It still kind of bounces a little bit, but it hovers so that if you launch it at a set of stairs, it doesn't go a random direction. If you hit a corner, it doesn't like go like, it's much more consistent. It actually hovers downstairs instead of like boo going every which way. If you throw it down a stairs, it doesn't hit a couple times, and it'd be much more consistent if it hovered a little bit. Still lobbable so that you can get over terrain and over obstacles and stuff like that and down stuff, but it would hover so that you don't have ridiculous bounces, because making sure that the geometry of every single square centimeter of the map is perfect for her Stasis Bomb is just not a reasonable thing. And this is a simple fix, and it would work much, much, much better. So there you go. The quest mechanic is on her Stasis Bomb because it's just such a it's just such a key component to her. If 20 enemy heroes are struck with Stasis Bomb, its stun radius is increased to 400 units. So it's that's a radius. I just realized that's a massive area, 800 unit diameter. That's massive. So 100 unit radius and then 200 unit radius, so that it's actually reasonable. You get the point. A smaller, much smaller radius stun for her initial Stasis Bomb, and then when it's empowered, it's a little bit bigger, so that in the late game, when you put that containment fence down, you chuck that out, and you can actually reliably get 1, 2 people, maybe even 3, in that Stasis Bomb and serve your purpose a little bit more. So that's wonderful. Containment fence is here. It's the same thing, no slow. Really, it doesn't have a slow, it doesn't deal damage on the outside. It's just a containment fence because there's a lot of weird interactions, especially on Legacy, with the containment fence. We're gonna go back to the sticky bubble because that has been reworked here, and it's pretty awesome. Listen to this, sticky bubble. Dekker creates a bubble of sticky energy for 2.5 seconds, same thing as it is now, so same duration, damaging and slowing enemies for the same amount. It's the same thing. However, enemies that leave the bubble will receive an additional bubble around them, refreshing that slow and duration. Also, the bubble will spread to enemies that touch each other after the fact. So if you leave the bubble, if you leave the initial bubble, you get the slow and duration refreshed in this little bubble around it. If you spread it, if you touch an ally, then you spread it to them. It can only spread once. So essentially, she's putting down another sort of battlefield definition. Here is a little bit of a battlefield. If you want to leave the bubble, well, you got to deal with a longer slow and the potential of putting it onto somebody else. Or you stay in the bubble and just suffer for the 2.5 seconds, but don't prolong the slow afterwards. It's another way for her to go, aha, here is some kind of a battlefield with, you know, that you don't like, but you have to deal with it. You have to make a choice. You know, where do I go within this bubble? Where do I go within this containment fence? Where do I go because my enemies are around me? It's another thing that she can throw out on the battlefield during a team fight and kind of control the space. Really cool idea. This, combine all of these things, I think brings her value up more in line to what all the other sports that kind of came out, like FaZe and, you know, just Muriel's inherent awesomeness all of the time, to be honest with you. So I think this makes her more viable, obviously. We've added a lot to her. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of Dekker AoE teamfight support with pretty cool passive. Rocket boots, bring back the movement speed. Stasis Bomb, it hovers now and empowers that stun radius a little bit. Sticky bubble so that it spreads and refreshes if people leave the area. And containment fence, that's just so solid. No real changes needed. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of Dekker. Please like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, of course, guys. Subscribe if you guys want more content like this. Please let me know down in the comments, as well as discussing what was going on in this video. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.